stories. It was Black Friday, and they had a printer on sale that my fiance and I really wanted, and he wanted to pick up some other Christmas gifts that were on sale. We entered the store together and went our separate ways to do our shopping. By the time I get back to the printer, I know my fiance should be coming back in soon, so I was going to stay in that general area. So I pulled my phone out to text him where I was going to be. I pushed the cart right in front of the printer display out of the aisle because I knew people were behind me. The guy behind me walks past me and turns around to take a picture of the printer display. Naturally, in these kinds of situations, I move out of the way because I don't want to be in some random person's pictures. I'm not really thinking anything of it until he starts to hover there after taking the pictures and does nothing. Like he stands around with his cell phone still out looking around, not sure what he wants to do with his camera still on. At this point, I'm just staying aware of what's going on around me because I don't want to get in people's way. Just standing there trying to decide if I wanted to wait there for my fiance or go do some shopping. So I'm thinking to myself, man, this guy gets me. He doesn't know what to do either. But then he turns around completely to look at a pair of young boys' boxers and takes a picture. Like you can see the click when a photo was taken and he acted like he took the photo but didn't. I thought that was strange, so I was like, whatever, I'm going to get out of here to go get done with shopping faster. As I turned to leave, I noticed that he is now also starting to move, and he is moving his phone around. So I turn around and start to act like I'm not sure where I want to go or what to do. What does this guy do? He stops moving, starts to look around like he's unsure of what he needs to do. This is when I started to get a bit suspicious. The whole time, I'm staring at this man right in the eyes and facing his direction in case he looks at me. I mean, he was a few feet away from me. I know he knew I was looking at his way, and he wouldn't take the picture. He continued to look confused, and that's when I decided I'm going to leave. So I turn the opposite direction and start to walk faster, and I realize he is also walking behind me, so I come to a stop and turn around to face his direction. He proceeds to walk past me a few feet, and I have my head turned to see him. Then he stops, turns around, sees me looking at him, and walks past me to grab a printer. At this point, I'm starting to freak out. I decide to call my fiance and ask him loudly where he was and when he was going to get back to the printers again. I didn't want to tell him what I thought was happening because I really wasn't sure. Maybe I was being paranoid, right? There was an older lady trying to come down the aisle, and I'm going to ignore her trying to act like I'm not paying attention to them and asking my fiance where he is. Well, the guy does grab the printer, and I want to point out that the whole time this was going on, his iPhone was still in his hand, and his camera was still on and waving his phone around. Never once exited the camera screen. As he is grabbing the printer, he aligns his phone to the edge of the printer box to perfectly leave his phone camera pointing directly at me. If you have an iPhone, you know you can use the volume button to take pictures, and that's exactly where this guy's finger is. He proceeds to try to distract me to tell me that the older lady was trying to get through. All the while he was laughing and smiling to the lady, talking about he couldn't believe I was just standing there. He walks away with her, and that's when I start to realize fully that there is no way that what had just happened was a normal situation. It's also interesting that once I was asking my fiance where he was, when he'd be back there, that he started to gather himself to leave, right? So I followed after the lady and apologized to her, saying I was scared the man that was just talking to her was trying to take a picture of me. This lady said that the man was talking to her about me, and she basically ignored him, and he went the other way. That's when it clicked that I should just go ask the guy. If he had just taken pictures of me, it shouldn't be that big of a deal if it's a misunderstanding, and I was just in his way. I wasn't in his way at all. Well, he looks at me all shocked and confused and goes on to say, "Huh? What are you talking about? What? Huh?" I was like, "Yeah, back by the printers. I thought I seen you taking pictures of me." At the flip of a switch, he flipped out. He started screaming at me that I was a crazy bitch and what the fuck was wrong with me. "What do you think you are? You're a bitch. Go suck a dick, bitch. Fuck you. Suck a dick." He went on and on, yelling at me. At this point, I was like, "Just show me your pictures to prove you didn't." He refused to do it, and again started screaming at me, and that I can call the cops. Another customer, who I am so thankful for, had left to get a manager. So when I tell him I'm going to call the police, he walks away and disappears for like 5 minutes. I mean, it shouldn't be that hard to show me your phone either way. If someone approached me scared or wondering if they took my photo, I'd be confused, yes, but then apologize if I scared them, and I'd have no issues showing my shit to them. At this point, I was having a full-blown panic attack in Walmart and could not breathe, literally gasping for air. All this time I'm on the phone with my fiance, unable to tell him where exactly I am. All I could say was the clothes by the register, which really doesn't help because all the clothes are near them. When he comes back, he turns to my fiance and tells him to tell me to shut the fuck up and starts freaking out again. He is doing all of this in front of the manager at this point, and he says, "Hold on," and makes a call to his girlfriend to come beat me up and my fiance because I said he took a picture of me when buying a printer. He didn't seem to know what to say to her exactly. At this point, security comes because he's threatening to hurt us and gets his side of the story somewhere else. When the police show up, they take his story and look through his phone, and then they take mine. They inform me they found nothing in pictures recently deleted or texts of me, but we all know he probably already deleted whatever evidence he had when he ran away when I threatened to call the cops, or any other apps he was using. I'm sorry, but no person that is innocent reacts in this type of manner. Like, I didn't even approach him accusing him that he in fact took a picture of me. I just asked him if he took any pictures of me, and when he didn't understand what I was saying, I just explained what I thought I had seen. The police informed me that he will be charged with disorderly conduct. I'm sure some people will think I'm over-exaggerating or something like that, but anyone who knows me in these kinds of situations, I will usually ignore the person and pay no mind. Like the other day, some dirty, gross old man was saying really perverted things to me as I bent over doing something to the car's floor mat, and I ignored him, then left. I'm not one to usually care about this too much, and I'm sure we all have at some point felt like someone was following them and never said anything to them. If I notice someone around me a lot in a store and I'm alone, I will of course stay aware. As a woman, I have to pay attention to these small things going on around me. I'm confident that the man never intended to buy a printer, and now he had a printer in his cart, and I had confronted him. He can't just go and put it back, so he will probably end up returning it to the store, or his girlfriend will. It is way over 24 hours later. I still keep having panic attacks where it feels like I can't breathe. I shake and my chest feels like it is sinking in. This is honestly the scariest thing that has ever happened to my personal safety. I've never been so scared in my life, and that right there should tell you how odd this situation felt to me. I just don't know what to do. I have a daughter that is 11 months, and every cry and scream she makes is very triggering to me and starts to make me get anxious even more. I feel like the people around me don't understand why this has had such a huge impact on me emotionally. I mean, I don't understand it either, since I am technically okay, but knowing how close I came to something so bad is so scary, and how am I supposed to go around like that's not traumatic? I am so scared that this man had a picture of me somewhere. It's not hard to hide a picture in your phone by changing apps, fake apps, other messaging apps, etc. I'm scared for my life that whenever I go out in public, I may run into him or someone else he potentially sent those pictures to, and either he will kidnap me or somehow hurt me. I live in an area that is high in human trafficking rates, and this is something that has been happening to a lot of women around here multiple times at this same Walmart. A lot of people get it on video, but I just could not. I know this just happened, but I'm so scared this feeling will never go away while I still live in this area. I'm a young, petite female, and I have a new EV. I haven't installed my charger yet, so I usually charge every night or every other night because I drive long distances. I have two spots I go, the mall or Walmart. Tonight I decided to go to Walmart since it is closer to my house. I noticed about 2 minutes after I got back in my car that a van pulled over. The guy inside attempted to talk to me, but he looked like a creep, so I decided not to open my window. I noticed he didn't get out and didn't have anyone else with him. I felt observed and caught him staring at me a few times. I started to get scared when it had been over 30 minutes and my car was at 85% done. The EV Go chargers have a screen displaying the charge left. When he noticed my car was almost done, he started moving more and even opened his door. He was looking at the screen, then directly at me. At this moment, I was terrified. I looked all over my car for anything that could be used as a weapon, and I had nothing. I was waiting for anyone to park near me and unplug then, but nobody was parking next to me or near me. I didn't know what to do. I started to dial 911 because I honestly feared for my safety. When he noticed that, he quickly turned around and got out of the car. When I saw him walk inside of Walmart, I rushed out and left ASAP before he walked out. I knew I had about 5 minutes since the doors are one way due to COVID, and he would have to go around through the cashiers. When I got home, I watched the full recording of my cameras. It gave me the chills when I saw him staring straight at me from his window. You could tell he was up to no good. So my friend Lucy used to work with me during the evening shift at Walmart. She moved to overnights after all this. Me, Lucy, and my friend Jacob all met on our shift, and we began hanging out a lot and soon became good friends. One day we were talking and something came up where she told me that there was a really creepy associate working in customer experience. I asked her who, and she said, Landon. This is her story. Landon is in his mid-40s or 50s. He's tall and broad. He has brown hair and blue eyes, and he was working in recovery. One day, Lucy was working in furniture, and she was finishing up a skid. Suddenly, she turns and sees Landon pull up a chair from one of the stands and flips it around and sits on it, completely staring at Lucy. This made her terribly uncomfortable, so she reported him to the managers, who gave him a warning. That did not stop him. No, not at all. He was caught harassing my friend Lucy 2 more times, and still was giving warnings, and then he started harassing another associate, and so we saw our manager go up to him, tell him that what he is doing is wrong, and it was his last warning. Once Lucy was invited to come over to Landon's place, and she went. I don't know why, probably pressure, and she looks on this man's bed, and you could see white speckles, if you know what I mean. This isn't the end of his shenanigans. I was in the break room, and we have a couple of Muslim associates. Well, he went up to one and started talking with them. He was not really making fun of her, but he was racially profiling her, asking if she came from Somalia, talking about terrorism, etc. It was honestly the cringiest thing I have ever heard in my entire life. Finally, when me and my friends were walking home from downtown, we see this man on a hoverboard dancing in a silver suit on his hoverboard and zooming down the street. It was honestly so weird. Yeah, so Landon still works at Walmart, and he is on his last straw, even though they gave him multiple warnings already. This happened about a year ago. Not really the creepiest of encounters, but I want to see if anyone else has had something like this happen to them. Also adding, I'm a male, early 20s, if it matters. I stopped at Walmart on my way home from work. It was probably around 6 p.m. All I needed was a few veggies for the dinner I was making that night. The veggie fruit section was directly by the enter-exit doors. As I'm making my rounds, I noticed this very tall, skinny guy was following me to every section I would stop at. He would end up directly across from me, pick up a fruit, put it back down, pick up a vegetable, put it back down, all while occasionally making eye contact with me. I stopped to grab one last thing. At this point, I'm pretty close to the doors, probably 10 to 15 steps. He then approaches me and asks if I would like to hear his group's take on the Bible. I'm a bit intrigued because he seems a little off, and I wanted to hear what his group's take on the Bible was. I say, sure, why not? But I'm kind of in a hurry. As soon as I say that, he looks over to these 2 massive guys. I actually noticed these guys before. They were standing right by the carts, which were right next to the entrance. These guys weren't as tall as him, but were large. Not as in ripped, but they were very thick individuals. Just picture a college football offensive lineman. Seemed like they could have been brothers. They immediately walked over and stand right by us, occasionally making eye contact with me, but mostly look behind me for some reason. They never said a word. So now I'm somewhat concerned. My back is to the vegetables, this tall, lengthy man to my left, and the other 2 guys in front of me. To summarize what the guy said, their group believes that God is a woman, and that she made us to basically be some kind of sexual slaves, peasants under her. I started getting really weird vibes at this point. This guy was giving off a creepy sexual vibe, like he was thinking about some disgusting stuff. That's the best way I can describe it. I tell him that's an interesting take. He tries a couple of times to take my info, tries to give me his info, and invites me to their church. I say no thanks and walk away while he's still trying to talk to me. After about 10 seconds, I look back to see what they were doing, but they were gone. They probably walked right out the door and left. Made a couple of extra turns on the drive home to make sure no one was following, and I was good. Does this sound like a cult? Or just some weird guys trying to creep people out? That Walmart usually has some odd characters hanging around outside, but that was the first time I've encountered someone like that. I'd also like to add that the three of them were very well dressed, and the man spoke with a weird confidence / intelligence, if that makes any sense at all. If you're new, go ahead and hit the like button and subscribe to my channel, as it really helps me out. And if you are already subscribed, welcome back and thank you for subscribing.